Hey everyone, and welcome to Cooking with Angela and Julie. I'm Julie, aka the Cancer Dietitian, and this recipe video is part of a collaboration between Cancer Services, the nonprofit I work for, and Wellness House, which is a cancer support nonprofit in the Chicago area. And it's so fun to work with Angela Dennison, which is Wellness House's dietitian, to come up with some fun recipes for you. So for this month, which is February, we're focusing on red foods because it's Heart Month. And we are going to be releasing 3 different videos: loaded sweet potatoes, roasted cabbage, and super simple winter salad. So this video is for our roasted cabbage. And I think that you're really going to love it. I'm going to teach you how to make it. It's super simple. I love this recipe because it is a great way when you have a whole cabbage, you aren't sure what to do with it, you don't want to take all that time to shred it or chop it up. This is a simple way. You just have to make a few cuts and add some oil and lemon juice to the cabbage and roast it in the oven. It tastes really good. It's a little bit crispy and crunchy and really delicious. So it's one of my favorites. Okay, let me take this slide off here so you can actually see what we're doing. What I've got here today is, first of all, a really enormous cabbage. So I'm part of a co-op, and this cabbage came in our co-op. It was so huge. So I've actually only used half of it is what we're going to do today. I would recommend buying a smaller one, or if you really want extra cabbage to make coleslaw or something like that, or sauteed cabbage, you can always do that. The thing that's great about cabbage is it's a cruciferous vegetable, which we know has lots of research for cancer risk reduction and promoting health in your body. And it is usually pretty affordable and available in the winter months. So the first thing that we do is actually take our cabbage and slice it into wedges. And so I like to actually leave the middle of the cabbage intact. It helps to keep the wedge a little bit together because it does fall apart. And you just take your wedge and put it over here on your, I have oiled this tray ahead of time, baking tray. And then I'm going to make one more cut here. Actually turn it on its end. So the thinner you slice them, the crispier they will be. This one's really large, so it's extra hard. You can also, if you prefer to not have to cut this off when you're eating, you can slice off that core part before you put it on your tray for roasting. All right, so we'll do 2 of those that way. And one of them I've left it. Let me show you here a little bit. So the one that I left here, it'll help to keep all these leaves. Whereas when you have to turn them over halfway through roasting, sometimes they fall apart a little bit. That doesn't bother me that much, but if you're a little bit particular about it, it might bother you. The next thing we do is kind of make our marinade. So I like to use one of these little jars that has a basting on it. And it calls for 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. And then 2 tablespoons of lemon. So a good juicy lemon, half the lemon should give you about 2 tablespoons. If it's a smaller lemon or it's not quite so juicy, it might take a whole lemon to get you what you need. So I'm just going to juice it right into my container here. Now, all we need for this recipe is the cabbage, olive oil, lemon juice, salt, and pepper. So that's really simple. That's how I like to cook. You will notice if you've attended any of my other collaborations with Angela, she is a little bit more fancy than I am, which I really like because she teaches me some things. But if you know me, I am not the fanciest chef. I say I'm just a regular cook. So we are going to take this, move these into the screen here, and I am just going to baste it. Now, you don't want to use all of it because you'll roast it in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes, and then you're going to flip it over and use the rest of it. So I find that this goes pretty far. And how many wedges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, you might end up with 8 wedges. when you do yours, if you slice it a little thinner or it's a smaller cabbage, that would be easier to slice thinner. And so you just want enough that you've covered all the edges so they don't burn to a crisp in the oven. And then you set your oven at 450. I have a convection bake on my oven, so I do use that setting. Put a little bit of pepper and salt on them. And then you pop them in the oven and pretty much just leave them there. You can check on them, but especially the first side, it doesn't tend to overcook. And you do that, put it in there for 15 to 20 minutes. I use tongs, so I use these tongs to just scoop under them. Sometimes they start to fall apart, so you will have to work with them. And then you do that same thing on the other side, put them back in for another 15 minutes, and then they are done. You can serve them with lemon slices. It's a really delicious way to have cabbage and so much faster than having to chop the whole thing. Of course, I'm not going to make you wait for my baking, and I have this magical cooking, but this is what they look like when they're done. You can see that they are a little bit crispy on the edges, and these are actually really delicious. They're almost like cabbage chips. So I usually just eat it with a fork, but if some people, you know, kids, it might be a little bit harder. You might need to cut them with a knife and fork, but it's a great, just a side dish that's really simple and something that you can enjoy and feel good about eating. So I hope you try it and let me know. Send me pictures. Of course, I like to see what you're doing. But thanks so much for watching for our first round of videos. And be sure to check out all of our recipe videos. You can find them on the Cancer Dietitian YouTube channel, or you can find them on wellnesshouse.org or over on cancerdietitian.com. Just click on the recipe tab. Thanks so much. Have a great day.